everyone, and welcome back to our webinar series. I'm Hilda, Content Manager here at the DEO, and I'm excited to have you all here as we dive into our topic this month, Solutions for Overcoming the Top Challenges in Practice Management Software. And today we're going to tackle some of the most common pain points dental practices face, including data accuracy issues, vendor fatigue, high cost, and scaling difficulties. But we won't just focus on the problems. April, our guest speaker, will share some actionable solutions that can transform how you manage your practice. So whether you're struggling with inefficient systems or looking to optimize your current setup, you'll walk away with some tools and insights to overcome these challenges. So April, before you kick us off, could you do us the honor of introducing yourself and sharing a little more about your background?
Absolutely, Hilda. And thank you and DEO for having me as a guest on here today and allow us to share some of our knowledge and expertise with the folks out there that might be struggling in the technology challenges of today. So a little about me. I've been in the business leadership realm for operations and technology for the last 20 years. And I led the development and launch of Practice Tech's innovative all-in-one solution called Aura Dental, which has recently come to market. And prior to Practice Tech, I co-founded a company called Total Software Development Group that built dental technology solutions for about a dozen years and worked with more than 6,000 dental practices across the country, and including some of the large dental groups as well as small to mid-size dental practices. I have extensive experience in product management, dental product development, revenue cycle management, patient engagement, and making sure everything is HIPAA compliant that goes along with that as you're building a true easy-to-use dental system. So let's talk a little bit today about some of the problems that we are going to examine in this webinar. Problem number one is what we see in the industry as lack of reliable data. So one of the things that we see often is the disparate systems being challenging for offices that aren't sure which numbers are correct and which system has the right data that they're pulling the numbers from. That often leads to problem number two, which we see as vendor fatigue. So in an industry faced where you have several add-ons or surrounds to go with your primary PMS, you have group practices that often purchase other offices that are not necessarily on the same practice management system as the first office. And so then you end up in a situation where you have to deal with multiple vendors, multiple software technologies, and there's a lot of vendor fatigue that our teams are experiencing in the dental world because of this. These things also drive up problem number three, which is cost. And we are all concerned about cost in today's market and trying to take advantage of what we need to scale our business and grow, which leads us to problem number four, the inability to scale. When you're managing disparate systems and have multiple technology platforms that your teams are trying to manage and accommodate and learn from, those things often turn into unsurmountable problems that you need to face and come up with realistic solutions to address those. So those are the problems that we're going to examine today and kind of walk through some possible solutions as well as how to identify those problems to better serve your business and the needs of your customers and patients. Let's talk a little bit more about the lack of reliable data. I hear this all the time from customers that we're working with in terms of, they're using spreadsheets, they have manual processes, they pull one report from one system, another report from another system, or they're paying for a very expensive user interface or data warehouse to pull all of the data together. Oftentimes there's a resource constraint with that of trying to support those teams. And then they're still not even sure at the end of the day if those numbers are accurate. So it's a very labor-intensive, time-consuming process that doesn't necessarily show us the right results in terms of the data being accurate and reliable and having the confidence that we need that we're getting the right data from our different systems. So let's talk a little bit more detail about this specific problem. So we're looking at fragmented systems in the dental office and some of the challenges that those things can create and what that might look like on a day-to-day basis. Disparate systems oftentimes will increase manual data entry. When different systems like scheduling, billing, patient records, patient engagement do not always communicate well with each other, the staff will often have to enter the same data multiple times into those different systems. This not only takes up valuable time across various platforms, it also increases the likelihood of errors such as misspellings or incorrect information. They're also dealing with errors and inefficiencies and those inconsistencies that can be hidden behind those manual processes. It is prone to human error for manual processes. Mistakes in patient information can lead to scheduling conflicts. Having multiple appointments scheduled at the same time is one of the things we often hear when your online scheduling system doesn't work well with your practice management system. We also hear about billing issues where patients have trouble understanding their bill, or there's conflicts, or the numbers don't seem to match up with what you expected to see in the system and what you saw on the practice management side. And a lot of these things can negatively impact both patient care and satisfaction. It also makes those inconsistencies difficult with our analytics and will often hinder those reliable data points that we need to effectively manage and run our dental organizations. Bad data also negatively impacts operations. So when you have the lack of or the absence of a single source of truth, you're going to end up seeing additional errors more so and inefficiencies across the whole process. This also capitalizes itself in data inconsistencies. When data is stored in different silos, different databases, different systems, inconsistencies can arise. For example, a patient's treatment history might not match what is recording in their billing account. This often can lead to confusion and potential trust issues between the practice and the patient. Reliable analytics also requires us to be accurate and have complete data and less fragmentation across our data sources. Fragmented systems make it difficult to gather comprehensive data for analysis, and this can limit the office's ability to identify trends, apply predictive analytics, and make informed decisions. Without a clear view of the data, practices will miss opportunities for improvement or fail to recognize emerging trends that could be dealt with sooner to improve those operational efficiencies. All of these things combined together can negatively impact decision-making. And being able to have accurate, impactful decision-making in those mission-critical items is one of the things that helps separate success in your future and one of the ways to continue to improve your operational efficiencies. Effective decision-making must have accurate data and timely information. If the data is inconsistent or incomplete, dental practices may struggle with strategic decisions regarding patient care, resource allocation, operational improvements, and ultimately affect the practice's growth and success. Overall, that lack of integration between systems can lead to inefficiencies, decreased productivity, and create a negative impact on patient care in your offices. One thing that we also want to make sure we touch upon is the critical need for financial data and reporting. Financial data and reporting is one of the drivers of the business these days, especially in today's world of needing to focus on same-store growth and making sure that your EBITDA is on track. Without the accurate financial numbers in that real-time format and knowing and having confidence that they are accurate, it makes it much harder for business leaders and organizational department heads to make the decisions that they need to keep the business on track and make sure that you hit your goals along the way. Let's talk about a solution to our first problem. So it's easy to talk about creating a unified system, but how would you get there and what would it look like for your organization? One of the things we encourage practices to do is to take an integrated approach. We want you to be able to review all of the current platforms that your practice uses and look at how you're storing and accessing the data for those. Access all platforms that your practice uses and create a unified business process roadmap to work towards an integrated system. Transition to an all-in-one platform that integrates communication, scheduling, reporting, and accurate data all in one system. This unified data management provides a reliable single source of truth for your analytics and for those items that you need to make those business decisions. I was on the call with a practice just today that is doing manual attachments, manual images to claims. They're manually filing claims, they're manually posting payments, and they're manually scheduling and sending patient reminders. All of these manual items are creating an enhanced issue for their team in terms of their resources, how much work they're having to manually push out, and not allowing their team members to focus on critical patient care or efforts to grow the practice. So looking for ways to automate these things in a unified platform is one of the possible solutions. Now, in this slide here, you'll notice that there is a scan here to download our checklist. This checklist is going to help you look for ways to automate this process and walk you through how to investigate your current systems and processes. We've created a checklist that you can scan and download from the presentation right here. The first page of the checklist helps you evaluate key features to look for in an all-in-one PMS. You can also use this checklist to help evaluate the current technology systems and business processes that your office is using, look at how much money you're spending on each of those, and then understand what it might look like to create a plan to change those processes or create a different implementation guide to help you streamline those and pull your system into one more cohesive platform and unit so that you're fully integrated and have the ability to automate some of these things. Obviously, in today's age, we don't want to forget about the enhancements that you might see by leveraging AI technology to create those automated efficiencies. So looking at AI and automation to send out appointment reminders, to fill your schedule, to automatically contact patients about recall appointments or missed appointments, or quite frankly, to just send them a happy birthday message. Using a system that allows you to automate those key features saves your staff time and improves your patient engagement, which is something that all of us want. Looking at that practice life cycle of patient engagement, getting the patients in the door, the second part of it being treating your patients, delivering care that's consistent in quality and driving it across the organization. And then finally, making sure the system helps you get paid. Those are the three key components of the practice lifecycle that you want to make sure all of your business processes and technology systems are all aligned to fulfill as your organization is trying to scale and grow and deliver quality patient care services to your patients. AI-enhanced processes also ensure accuracy of the data entry, reporting, and minimizing manual errors. We can also improve your revenue cycle time by automations in posting, claims filing, and automations of auto payment plans and automatic payment posting. There's lots of tools available to you today to increase some of these automations and to use the current technology that's given to make it more efficient and more streamlined so that you get those operational benefits to enhance productivity and enhance the overall effectiveness of your team. Improving data accuracy also supports the informed decision-making and your overall strategic growth and gives you those operational benefits that you might be missing out on looking at all of the different systems you're using today. Now let's talk a little bit about vendor fatigue. So this is one that I hear a lot. Working with practices, oftentimes you don't even realize that you're using 6, 7, 8, 10 different systems in your dental organization to help drive your business. One of the doctors we worked with here in Georgia had a record-breaking number of 14 different technology systems that they were using to manage their practice. This is just a 2-office organization. This office was using one software platform for two-way texting, another for reminders, another for electronic forms, one for practice management system, one for social media management, one for campaigns and marketing, one for payments, and so on. So looking at just logging into 14 different systems a day for his team was causing a huge drain on their overall productivity and resources. Another DSO uses more than 30 different practice management system platforms in their organization. That doesn't even count the other vendors being used for add-on services and surrounds that might be helping process their reminders or claims pieces. So vendor fatigue has become a real struggle in our industry. And we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that and what that problem might mean to your organization. So let's just talk about the hassle of dealing with multiple vendors. We talked about how you might be juggling, disparate systems. They may or may not be integrated. And if they are integrated, they may just be a one-way integration. So do those systems talk back to each other, or is it just a one-way sync? A lot of this creates significant confusion and hassle when there is an issue. These integration issues come up often, and dealing with these multiple vendors can be a challenge around those integration issues. Different software systems may not easily integrate with one another. There's not a lot of interoperability in the dental industry today. And that is something that I think is going to be hearing more and more about from the ADA and the AAO and in years coming about how we can improve and change this. That lack of interoperability can make it difficult to share information between systems, between practices, and that can result in inefficiencies and potential errors. We also have inconsistent user interfaces. Each software system may have its own user interface, its own workflow, and this can often confuse staff. Employees may need to switch between platforms, which requires additional training and potentially leads to mistakes when navigating different systems. There's also increased training requirements. With multiple vendors, staff must be trained on each software system. This can consume significant amounts of time and resources, and if staff turnover occurs, the office may face ongoing training demands. We also have vendor support challenges that are leaking into this. So each vendor may have a different support protocol, a different support email, a different support phone number. Coordinating support for multiple systems can be very cumbersome, especially if issues arise concurrently across different platforms. And then you get into the blame game. Whose fault is it between your different systems when your online scheduling module goes down? Are they blaming the practice management system, or are they able to fix it themselves? And who do you call? How much time does your team spend trying to figure out just where the problem is and who to report it to? You also have the higher costs of these vendor juggling acts, the strains of the resources that also may come up, and then the inefficiency just begets more inefficiency. All of this increased complexity and complications with data management, keeping track of the data across different systems complicates reporting and analytics efforts. You run the risk of having increased issues around compliance and security. Each vendor may have different security measures and different compliance protocols. This makes it difficult for dental offices to ensure that all systems meet regulatory requirements. And then who's at fault if something breaks in that integration process? This increases the risk of data breaches for non-compliance, and unfortunately, your patients are going to blame you. We also have a strategic alignment issue. So different vendors may have varying product roadmaps and priorities, which can often complicate long-term planning. Dental offices may find it challenging to align technology strategies with the offerings of multiple vendors, and getting two vendors to agree on how you should sync and what data you need from both and how to help operationalize that for the best impact to your practice can be challenging. Overall, managing multiple vendors can lead to inefficiencies, increased cost, and challenges in maintaining high-quality patient care in your practice. Office culture can also be negatively impacted and lead to drama when frustrations arise, and all of these impact your team on a day-to-day basis. Think about the last time you forgot your password for a system. What if you needed that password and that username for 7, 8, 10, 12 different systems a day? How much time is your staff spending on those inefficiencies and the hassles of those in your office? This is why vendor fatigue is such a big problem in our industry, and figuring out how to alleviate some of that stress for dental organizations as they scale and grow, and for your team as a whole, is a huge part of why this problem needs to have a solution. Let's talk about solution number 2. So look for ways to simplify your operations, work with a single point of contact, and prioritize support and enhance training as a way to solve your vendor fatigue. So let's talk a little bit about simplifying your operations. Looking at some of the benefits of a unified platform and eliminating the need for juggling multiple vendor relationships is also a key component. Streamlining your business processes to consolidate key functions into a single system is another core component that you can review to have work out what would be best suited for your organization. Working with a single point of contact is another benefit from having a dedicated system. You have one support team, one phone number, one email address, and one ticket to create when there's an issue. Having that one phone call mentality makes it easier for your team to feel confident that they know who to call and how an issue will get resolved. And they also know who to follow up with and who to hold accountable if something doesn't work well. Prioritizing the training and support requests are also important. Unified platforms provide consistent training and onboarding and reduce the team confusion and enhancing productivity. Having one workflow to learn and one workflow to train is also a benefit for your office and dental group. Simplified systems lead to quicker adoption, increased utilization, and improved staff efficiency for all of your systems. Problem number 3. Let's talk about cost. Using multiple software systems in a dental office can lead to obvious costs, but also hidden costs that may not be immediately apparent. So most practices today are already overpaying for their software system, spending up to 35% more on multiple systems versus what it would cost you to be in one unified platform. You're also paying additional fees oftentimes for onboarding, training, and support that can inflate your expenses and fall into more of those hidden cost areas. So for training and onboarding expenses, staff members need training to navigate and use each of the software systems effectively. This can require significant time and resources, and especially when new employees are hired and the software vendor has updates that occur. Having the ability to train on one system versus multiple is one of the ways you could potentially save money. There's also the hidden cost of productivity loss. Time spent switching between different systems and learning how to use them can lead to decreased productivity, and the staff may spend valuable time managing multiple platforms instead of focusing on patient care or ways to help grow your business. That domino effect of inefficiency has indirect costs, additional stress. It can detract from the patient care focus and lead to frustrated team members that has a negative impact on your office environment. There's also the issue of data management and data entry costs. Manual data entry between systems can lead to errors that can be quite costly. It also can lead to additional time to correct the mistakes. This is not only increasing labor costs, but can also result in lost revenue due to billing inaccuracies and increase your revenue cycle time. So not only are we creating more work for ourselves, but we may be causing it to impact to pay us longer and take longer to collect your money from claims processing, payment processing, and things that have to be done automatically. There are also issues around integration costs. So implementing these third-party solutions or custom integrations to make disparate systems communicate can be costly. These integrations may require additional software, technical expertise, or ongoing maintenance. Support and maintenance fees may also be part of the hidden costs. Managing support for multiple software systems can lead to higher ongoing costs, including subscription fees, maintenance contracts, and the need for IT support or troubleshooting issues across various platforms. There are also hidden costs when it comes to compliance. Ensuring that all of your partners and systems are meeting regulatory requirements like HIPAA may require additional investments in compliance audits for each of the disparate systems you're using, security measures, and of course, training, which can accumulate and add up over time to make these hidden costs something that needs to be considered when looking at the value of a unified platform. You also have to look at lost revenue opportunities. Inconsistent data and reporting capabilities can hinder the ability to analyze practice performance effectively and catch trends that you might have otherwise seen with more real-time and accurate reporting data. This may lead to missed opportunities for growth, such as identifying trends in patient care, or like items when deciding, is it time to add another hygienist to your practice? Oftentimes, we realize these things too late in the process, and now we've lost an opportunity or missed time where we could have been earning additional revenue or adding additional services to our business. There's also a efficiency loss equals profit loss. So financially inefficient items are items that we need to look at and see about resolving. Canceled appointments, upset patients, not having accurate data, those are all things that can cause patient satisfaction impact as well. Inefficiencies caused by fragmented systems can affect patient care and patient satisfaction. Poor experiences may lead to patient attrition, which can have long-term financial implications for the practice. There's also cost to just manage your vendors. Coordinating with multiple vendors for support updates and billing can require additional administrative effort. These efforts divert focus from patient care and increase overhead. How much time does it take for your staff to open and deal with multiple systems every day? You might also have hidden costs when it comes time to upgrade or transition between systems. If the practice decides to consolidate systems in the future, or there's an upgrade that comes out from one of your vendor systems, are those upgrades all automatically included, or do you have to pay extra to get those upgrades, or pay extra for the additional training that might be required to teach your staff how to use that upgrade? These hidden costs can add up quickly, and they significantly impact the overall financial health of a dental practice, making it vital to consider the long-term implications of using multiple software systems. Let's talk about how to solve our cost problem. Let's look at how we can discover the hidden costs. As we've talked about, most of us know the costs associated with our technology systems, but do you really have an idea of your hidden costs? What about the loss of team members when they get frustrated? What about the loss of time when they have to stop what they're doing and log into multiple systems and forgot their password or forgot their username? What about the cost of time when the dentist or the team members have to stay late to finish manual tasks because they're not automated and there aren't built-in workflows that fully integrate and sync both ways? A lot of this is caused from the double data entry and seems just systems just not talking to each other. So let's talk about ways to solve our hidden cost problem. So let's look for our cost transparency to uncover those hidden costs. Create a spreadsheet and make a list of what you're paying every month for each of your technology systems. You also want to talk to your team about what time they're spending every day going back and forth between systems. Ask them what processes are they doing manually. Are they manually posting credit card payments? Are they manually posting checks from the payers? Are they manually sending out reminders and calling? Are they manually logging in to the payer websites to confirm eligibility? Let's find out and document each of those processes so that you can truly understand the cost, apparent and hidden, in having all of those different technology systems are doing today. Some of them will be obvious because if you've got a situation for a group practice where you're using multiple electronic health record systems or PMSs, how are you aggregating your data? Do you have team members whose sole job it is to pull together spreadsheets, or are you paying for a very expensive data warehouse and the team to support it? So looking through those cost transparency tools are critical to understanding your business and understanding how you can help solve this. You also want to look at ways you can boost efficiency with an all-in-one solution. Reducing the training and support costs are huge with this. Easily accessing one tool with a single logon, regardless of what location, regardless of your specialty, regardless of your job or role. We want to make it easy to get into everything that you need to successfully run your dental business. And you want to be able to reap the financial rewards. So optimizing those resource allocations, optimizing the things that you need in terms of improving those efficiencies and identifying any gaps that you may have are also critical to the success. Focus on a positive team culture with less issues, better processes, and an easier system for your practices to use to run your day-to-day and to treat your patients. Let's talk about our final problem, inability to scale. First off, let's talk about what does scalability mean? Scaling your business could mean something different to a single office versus a small group versus a large DSO. A single office scaling your team might be just the ability to grow, to add more team members, to treat more patients, to see more patients. Maybe you're looking at doing assisted hygiene in your office. Does your systems currently support that and make it easy to schedule those appointments and easy to train new hires? It could be that you're looking to add more services. Are you considering adding sleep apnea or implants or another specialty like orthodontic aligners to your practice? Does your system easily let you handle multi-specialty services? These are some of the questions that you need to ask. And are those processes scalable? If you're a DSO, maybe you want to add additional services or specialties, or perhaps you're looking to add additional locations. If your dental organization is doing a lot of manual processing, what does that look like as you grow from 2 to 4 or 4 to 40 or 40 to 400? How do you scale those processes and still manage your business effectively with all of the disparate systems taking so much time and so much double data entry, or having partially done or inadequate integrations that make it unreliable when giving you your data? Let's delve deeper into this problem with the inability to scale. So stunning your growth is something that we need to talk more about. There's limited vendor capabilities that could be impeding your growth to expand. So whether it's the fact that your current systems do not support additional specialties, or whether they do not support more automated features, that's something to consider as you're scaling and growing. We also want to look at ways to ditch the restrictive technology. Some vendors are on-premise still. And that on-premise to architecture is complicated when you're trying to scale, because then you have to buy expensive servers for every single office. The inability to see a clear snapshot of your practice's financial health and trajectory will also hold you back here. Looking to overcome some of those operational challenges in scalability is important. It's the inability to scale operations with multiple systems causes a lot of inefficiencies and hampers productivity. Your team is not equipped to be an expert in every single vendor platform, but having them become an expert in one unified platform is something they are capable and have time to do and focus to do. If we talk about scalability in terms of adding additional resources to your office so that you can hire more team members, coming up with ways to efficiently train them and have them learn a unified platform is much easier than trying to learn all of the different systems that you may be operating in your business now. Even if the system is more integrated or has a little bit of integration, it may not be fully, and there may be different workloads and attachments and views that you have to work through. Let's talk about how we want to solve our inability to scale and what that looks like. So we want you to be able to grow and scale and run your business successfully. So as you're going into the market to look for a new unified practice management system that includes the tools you need and automates as much of the manual business processes as possible, here are some things to look at. For example, your online scheduling system should be pulling live times from your schedule book in real time. Once booked, the patient should get an automated text confirming the appointment with a link to automatically add it to their Google or Outlook calendar. The patient should also then get the electronic form to complete sent to their cell phone. They should be able to complete it on their mobile device and have that form automatically upload to their patient document account inside the practice management system. These things should all happen without a person on your team having to do a single thing. Don't you think that would make your team happy? This is what I mean by letting the technology of a unified platform do the work for you. And what that would mean to your organization across all of your team members, across all of your locations, and how much time, money, effort, and resource availability that would give you. We also want to look at making sure that your data is accurate and that you can always access the system. Partnering with companies that allow for cloud-based platforms that have open APIs to connect you to other systems that you do decide to still use, because we are going to still want to use some of those other third-party systems, but making sure that those systems are talking to each other in a way that's open and not closed and interoperable is also a big factor in how we help solve this problem. Let's talk a little bit about what it means to look at the cloud. Having a platform hosted in the cloud is a big benefit for your team. Cloud-based systems no longer require things like a tape or backup copy to be kept in the office. One less thing your team has to do at the end of every day, and one thing that they often forget to do. So then what happens if you have to back it up? You don't have to worry about the disaster recovery processes anymore. With a cloud-based unified platform, that is all taken care for you and your organization. I tell practices all the time that the greatest risk of their data and security is what you keep on your local area network. The cloud is much more secure today than it's ever been. We have backup availability, disaster recovery, multi-factor authentication, data centers hosting your data in multiple areas, and 24/7 access for you and your team to go into patient files for after-hours emergency situations and be able to complete your notes at home so that you don't miss your kids' soccer games or baseball games. This allows you to deliver better patient care in real time without having to leave the comfort of your home to send in a prescription, for example, for an abscess, or being able to handle those patient emergencies after normal office hours. So you're giving better patient care, you're having better home time yourself, and you're delivering the results that you need to make your business successful. Making sure that you're utilizing those seamless integrations between systems is also important. For those of you already looking at an all-in-one system, ask some of the hard questions that you need to ask. Which modules are add-ons? Because a lot of systems out there call themselves all-in-one, but they're not really. They've just got a nice, frame around it, and it looks like you're staying in the same system. So ask the hard questions about an add-on. Ask if they own the company owns the product that's the add-on. Ask if there's a partnership agreement if they don't own it. How do they connect? Is it a one-way sync or a two-way sync? Where's the downfall in the connection? Also, look for those hidden costs. Are there agreements in place? How do they integrate and how are they connected? Does their data sync once a day, or is it real time? Or does it sync every 15 minutes? These are important questions because every single one of those and the answers to those questions will have a detrimental impact on your business if the answers are not handled the correct way. If you're not doing a real-time sync, how often are you going to have to deal with the fact that someone scheduled an online appointment at the same time as someone scheduled it in the office? And what does that mean to your business processes and workflows to get that corrected on a daily basis? So asking those questions from your providers, being able to be comfortable with those answers, including those things in your RFP process. If you're going out in a large enough group to do an RFP, request for proposal, are we including those things in your RFP questions and responses? And do those things work for your organization and your business? And how much time is it really going to save you having a true all-in-one system versus still considering the disparate systems that may be available? And if you are going all-in-one, do they still allow you to have open API connections to the companies that you still want to do business with that may not be engaging with their platform today? Those are some of the questions that are going to help you solve this problem and tackle the importance of this as you grow and scale. So let's look at the problems we've examined today. In this webinar, we've learned about the 4 problems having multiple technology systems in your dental organization can cause. Lack of reliable data. Are the numbers right? Do I get it fast? Is it there when I need it? Is it manual or automated? And does it give me the mission critical data in real time that you need to make impactful business decisions and to see those trends ahead of time before you realize it's too late? You could have made an adjustment to improve your operations. Let's talk about vendor fatigue. How much time does your team lose every day looking at passwords, opening different third-party systems, trying to see why one is not syncing or sourcing correctly, and why you're doing double data entry for certain processes? What does that limited integration do, and how is it impacting your team? How are these frustrations impacting your culture, your team, and what challenges could you be avoiding by having one unified platform? We also talked about cost. Use the checklist that we talked about earlier in the webinar to help you identify the obvious and not so obvious costs of the disparate systems. Subscription fees, document the support fees, the maintenance, the updates, the backup tapes, the IT networking costs, the billing inquiries, the training time. Put all of this down, and I think you'll be surprised at how much you see potential savings could be and what you're really doing to manage your business and how you can improve those operational efficiencies and business process workflows. Finally, the inability to scale. Let's face it, we all want to grow, either by seeing more patients, adding more services, adding more specialties, or adding more locations. It's important to grow smarter. Look for ways to be more efficient, more automated, and let technology work for you instead of you and your team working for the systems. We talked some solutions too. We talked about needing a unified system. We talked about unifying your process and workflows to discover the hidden costs. We've talked about how to focus on a unified system from a vendor fatigue perspective and adding additional strain to your office and team members in the processes. The increased burden of training, resource time, figuring out which systems to contact are all things that you need to be aware of. Identifying and discovering those hidden costs is also huge. The checklist provided will help you understand these costs and identify the key items to look for in a new practice management system so that you can come up with a unified all-in-one plan to get your organization moving in the right direction. Finally, dental organizations can grow and scale successfully by focusing on automated, fully native workflows for all major business processes. Leveraging the benefits of AI and the benefits of one unified platform, you have ways to eliminate and minimize manual processes that are taking time and resources away from your team's focus of what really matters to grow and scale your business. Finally, I want to say thank you for attending this webinar and learning more about how unified systems can bring value to dental organizations. Aura is one of the cloud-based PMSs that is actually all-in-one and automates a lot of the manual workflows that your practice is currently doing today. Feel free to reach out to me or scan the QR code associated with this webinar to learn more about how Aura can help you revolutionize your dental practice, save you time, save you money, and decrease some of the issues that we've talked about today.
you, April, for sharing your time and expertise with us today and shedding light on these challenges and providing practical solutions. I'm positive our members and community are walking away with strategies they can implement right away. Don't forget to scan the QR code to learn how Aura can help streamline your practice and solve these issues. Or if you have any questions, like April said, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm sure she and her team would be happy to continue this conversation offline. Thank you all for joining us today. Be sure to keep an eye out for our next webinar, and I'll see you next time.